Hey, thanks for joining us. This is Live with the Miami's Community News. And today we're going to be talking about the mask mandate for Miami-Dade County Public School students. Our guests and parents are Zac Carrigan and Demi. Thank you for being here. So why don't you tell the folks what's been going on with you and your family and your daughter in the school system?
Okay, so recent news brought out a mask mandate for all students in Miami-Dade Public Schools. It's pertinent to all students. However, they came out with a exemption, which the board voted on. They presented an exemption for students with documented medical history from a physician. They provided a form last minute for us to fill out, and we did that, and now they're not honoring the exemption.
And your daughter's what? How old and what grade?
She's in
She's
first
actually
grade.
turning
First
six
grade.
tomorrow.
6.
Yeah, she's gonna be turning 6 tomorrow.
So, putting aside your personal issue, but for kids that are young, all right, that have lived, a huge percentage of their life in this, all right? At 6 years old, it's been a year and a half or two since we've really been sort of like starting to talk about this. So we know that it is a huge issue for them and a big one for us as well. So, Demi, you've asked for your daughter to be exempted based upon the rules as you understand them.
Correct.
So tell us about the process, what you did once you got the form and you filled it out. What's been happening and who have you spoken to?
Okay, well, they had a last minute, as you know, on Wednesday. They had a last minute, as you know, on Wednesday. The form was not readily available. Like immediately, I was watching that meeting, every single minute of it. And next day, we looked for the form, wasn't available. We contacted the school. We kept close contact with the school and her doctor. And on Friday, late morning, they provided that form for us. Granted that the school will start on Monday.
Friday, a couple days ago, a week ago, 6 days ago.
Yes.
Correct. So we had to run against time to get her in school. She was going to start school on Monday. So we contacted her physician, and they worked wonders because they actually went to their office on the weekend to get this provided for us.
Doctor.
Her doctor, yes. Yeah. And we submitted to the principal, which has been very helpful. His hands are shackled, so we don't hold anything against him. So he submitted it right away on Sunday, and we had to wait a couple of days for the resolution. We thought we're going to be good. We thought she was going to have exemption because we provided enough and sufficient evidence that she has a medical condition. And that's not what happened. They appeared with approval.
By the way, you say they try to identify if it's the school system or the doctor, whoever it happens to be.
The district.
The district. Okay.
The district appeared with an approval with accommodations, which we were informed that was given to any kid with a medical history. It didn't matter who. Those accommodations are not really accommodations. They're things already set in place, like frequently hand washing, and also breaks from mask use, which the school already provides that. So pretty much my daughter that has a medical condition is being held to the same standards than every other healthy kid in the school. There's absolutely no accommodation for her. They're making it make believe there is one. They're pretending there's one, accommodations and mask opt-out, like the form we fill out, which my husband's going to be referring to that in a little bit. There's nothing. So my daughter is being caught in a crossfire between two powers, just trying to gain attention.
Let's talk about how you feel about it. Put aside the intellectual process. But so how do you feel about this when you thought your daughter was going to be able to get this, and so far you haven't gotten this?
Well, initially once we were listening to the board meeting and we heard the medical exemption, we were at ease. We're like, okay, because we know from past experience, it's been going on for over a year and a half now of us having to wear masks. We've had a doctor note for a while, so we know that she's had an issue. So we felt at ease when we heard, okay, documented medical conditions. We have that. That's not a problem. So we were going to, as soon as we found out, we made the calls. We did what we had to do. We did our due diligence.
At that point, you were pretty excited you were going to be able to get.
We're excited.
Of course.
Yes.
Well, of course.
My daughter loves school. She loves learning. She's in a gifted program at a magnet school
which is really hard to get into, and they're telling us to get out.
Yeah. So
When you say they're telling you to get out, meaning what?
If she cannot wear a mask in the class, if she's not able to wear a mask in class or in the school, she cannot attend the school. That's what we were told. So that is the accommodation they're making to my daughter.
Was there in the form? Is there like the certain level of medical condition?
Well, we were told by the superintendent office, actually a couple of employees and several others because we spoke with several people, that actually every single person, even the most severe cases, are the exact same thing. They have to wear a mask. Every single person, a kid in the school has to wear a mask.
So it's just, do you think that's just a made up thing? Yes, we have.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're saying the accommodations, what you're saying is what's available to everyone.
Correct.
Right. If you like, I can indulge on this form.
And there's something else very interesting about that accommodation that they.
So
let me go again. But your representative, your school board representative, is Luisa Santos, newly elected.
Correct.
All right. Okay. And all right.
So
where are you, school board member?
Well,
we
spoke
they
with
someone
there's nothing
from
can
her.
be done.
We spoke with someone from her office. I believe we did.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one we
So
spoke this morning.
we spoke with them, and their hands are tied as well. A lot of these people are afraid to say something. They're afraid to.
It's like they're under a dictator.
So what we'll get to that and say, one of the things we want in life is to be heard, right?
Correct.
And when we can get heard, maybe we're not going to get what we want, but we want somebody to listen to us, to understand, to have compassion for it, and with the hope that they're going to do what we want them to do. So
Correct.
The minimum you want or the maximum you want is be able to get it. So there's that she would have some exclusion
Of course.
for doing that. But you also want to make sure that you were heard.
Correct. And
somebody
we did
to
not feel
acknowledge,
heard.
I hear what you're saying. This is the situation. All right. However, whatever that happens to be. So this is your time to make it really clear. All right. Because we'll make sure this gets to enough people. All right. So
okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Zach.
So the initial form that you fill out for a medical opt-out request is form FM7811E. That's asking personal information about your child that we honestly weren't comfortable disclosing. I mean, they asked diagnosis of medical condition, date of diagnosis, explain. This is all from our physician, my daughter's physician. They blatantly ask here, can your child wear a face covering and mask for a reduced amount of time? This is from a licensed physician filling these answers out. Okay. So we filled it out appropriately. Okay. It looked as it should have. And then what was it, about 2? So we submitted on Sunday. The principal submitted Sunday. We got this back on Tuesday, like late morning, early afternoon.
Yeah, we already explained that.
And this is titled, this is form FM7812E, dated 8/21, as they made it last moment, and review of student face covering medical opt-out request form. It's medical opt-out request form, not accommodation form, not exemption form.
Kid.
So here's what they replied to us. They wrote, "We are in receipt of your request. This is a general approved or denied." Their approval process, and what they say is, "We are in receipt of your request, and we will work with you to implement strategies to assist your child in developing a tolerance to mask use while mitigating the risk of COVID-19 spreading to others." And then that's the general to every kid. Doesn't matter how severe their medical conditions are or how minute they are. Okay, so in essence, we have non-medical professionals offering therapy, because if you look up the definition of therapy, they're developing a tolerance, right? Just as someone develops a tolerance to stress, anxiety, whatever the issue is. So, and now the approved, which is letter A here, the following modifications and strategies will be implemented with the student. Now, I brought ours, which they check box these: more frequent hand washing, which is part of the superintendent's mask policy, more frequent hand washing for all students. Monitor students' tolerance and frustration about the use of facial coverings. Who is doing this? Who's monitoring my student? The teacher? Is she going to put my daughter on the spot in the middle of a class? How are you feeling?
Is he a
Are you feeling
psychologist?
uncomfortable? My daughter's about to be 6. She's not going to raise her hand in class and say, I'm uncomfortable. I need a mask break.
And that's one of her conditions as well.
And then another one, provide scheduled breaks from facial coverings. That's already a part of the superintendent's mask policy, was scheduled breaks.
So this school board, probably dozens across the country, we have a policy concerning that. But in this particular case, it looks like that it's really not a policy to wind up being able to go to school without a mask.
Correct.
They're training.
Make it believe.
They're training. Look right here, the next bullet point that they checked: implement strategies to help acclimate student to mask.
If this was a year ago, she's going in first grade?
Yes.
A year ago, you would have been at home doing it, all right?
Correct.
So is that still an option in your mind?
So here's what happened in the phone call from pretty much everyone we spoke with from these offices. They said that, I asked them, what is our options? You can do the online learning, the Miami-Dade online learning, which we did for the last...
No, we did it through the school. Now they're not offering through the school anymore.
Right. So we did it through school. Now it's a general Miami-Dade online learning.
But the problem about that, I'm sorry.
My daughter's in a gifted program. So there's a special class assigned to her when they meet the appropriate criteria. And we love her school. Her school was our number one choice that she got into.
And that is not even the concern right now, because we would have to pull her from her school, lose her placement to sign her to the online school. So pretty much would have to lose this amazing opportunity she have. So she's healthy, happy, her emotional, mental well-being and physical well-being, it's met. So that's the problem. So that is the solution they gave to us.
So people on the other side of this would say, well, listen, there's, that all the kids should have it, and they could learn at home. So what do you say to that person?
It doesn't work like that. Some conditions aggravates with masks. We can try to build tolerance to a kid, but to a certain extent. If the kid is passing out, or we're not going to be disclosing everything about her, but there are situations that one day she may be okay, the next she won't. So even if we build tolerance, that doesn't mean that she's going to be okay at home, because we tried. We use mask out. We try using it. She does. Sometimes she's well with it. Sometimes she's not well with it. And we learn to accept that and work with her on it. So we're respecting her. We're respecting her needs. We're respecting her medical needs and everything we can do to ensure that she's happy, healthy. She's not going to have an accident. And it come to a point that we have to choose between her education or her health. It shouldn't be like this, because we're caught in a crossfire where they were fighting against something that they claimed that was extreme, and they're doing the exactly opposite on the extreme aspect of it as well. The people that actually need exemptions are not getting it.
And that form that you read, what form number is that again?
Form FM 7812E.
And the things that you read, that's standard on the form.
Correct.
Yeah, it's individual.
That was actually the approval, so we never seen the form.
They specify this is their accommodation. This is what their quote unquote accommodation is, because they have check boxes. So they're making special accommodations, which over half of these are already in the policy.
Correct.
They're not making. I think the only one was close monitoring, which my question is, who is monitoring my daughter? If she's uncomfortable, she's not going to speak up. She's 6,
So are there obviously there's other folks that are in the same position.
I believe so. I would like them to speak up, because we cannot let people push our kids around like this. They claim they care about their health, their well-being, and it's not shown. They're only caring about a virus. There's so many more other health issues people have out there. You shouldn't be only focused and funneling down to one specific problem.
When did you realize that this might be a problem?
Unfortunately, when the principal called me, and I could hear in his voice the worry, which he was so helpful, but he's obviously, he cannot do anything, and he didn't. So that's when I noticed the call that he sent me, Matos, are you available? And he went over with me, and I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this. And he tried to speak with his director, and he called back and said that was
a month ago. This was not an issue.
No, because the mask was like the Governor DeSantis passed an opt out, so we were comfortable with that.
Okay.
And then they changed, and actually we were watching, we were monitoring what was going to happen. We were scared because at this point we didn't know what to expect, and they left it. It's kind of upsetting because I had a great respect for Mr. Carvalho until now, because he left this issue last minute when he's been giving interviews for the last 2 3 weeks. He already had made his mind up. There was no questions about it. If you watch every single interview of him, and he left this decision to be made last minute. And now our kid is missing school. It's the second day she's missing school because we're not going to put her through that.
So, Demi, when we look at the kids that are a little bit older, a year or two older,
Mm-hmm.
we understand they've missed a whole lot of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this has been going on for 6 months or 3 months last year. So for a year and a half already, that's
Mhm.
going there. If your daughter, if they don't give approval for your daughter to go there without a mask, what happens?
Well, that's something we're going to have to cross. We already contacted some psychologists to see. She will probably need therapy again, which she improved so much. And it's really sad. Or we're going to have to pull her out of school. I mean, we honestly don't know yet what to do because we weren't expecting. This was super last minute. I mean, we have no answer right now, but we'll love her to remain on the school we picked. And she's selected, and she already met her teacher and her peers. And now she's going to have to adapt to a whole new world because someone is trying to make a political point, because they claim it's not a political point, but it is. And it's sad. It's sad they're using our kids as tools to get their way.
And what does the union folks have to say about this situation? Because I'm sure there are hundreds of students that are in similar places where they have medical conditions that make it very difficult to wear masks. Have you spoken to the
To
folks
be
at the
quite
union?
honest, we didn't have time to reach out. The information just came from us on Tuesday, and we've been on the phone for hours and hours a day, listening to the same thing. This is the policies. That's what you have to do. You have no option. You have to take your kid out of school and do online learning. That's what we're doing, even for the most severe cases. That's their explanation. So
Here's the thing: none of these board members, superintendent, staff members have missed a paycheck.
correct.
Now they're telling us that our choice is she needs to mask up with the documented medical history, or we have to do the online learning.
So
Who's going to sit with a 6-year-old? That's us that needs to take
I
time out of work.
had to stop working to be homeschooling her.
So the level of the medical condition of the child is really not relevant in this.
Shouldn't be relevant.
We were
they
told-
they cannot go over a board certified physician that has been with her since she's 7 days old and overstep his decision. Who are they? Who are these people? They don't know my daughter. They don't know.
Prescribing her therapy. That's what this is. This is
They say there's nowhere there that says therapy, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you look up the definition and
so
it says,
who are they to overstep my physician that we trust, that knows my daughter? Who are they? Like, who are they to make this decision? We're trying to get these answers, and no one can answer that to us. We don't know who approved. We don't know what qualifications, especially. Apparently, he said that there was going to be a couple of people working together, a few people actually, a few people working together to get this approval going. But who are these people? What are their qualifications? How do they decide that my daughter, it's okay for her to have mask breaks? Does her condition have time out? I'm wondering.
I heard him mention something about they're gonna have a registered nurse, I guess, at the school for at least 5 hours a day. A registered nurse. They're not a psychologist. They
No.
don't specialize in early childhood development. They don't understand.
They don't understand.
What's going on with all these kids. I mean, I don't want them disclosing my daughter's information to everyone. This was between me and because of the issue at hand.
And we weren't.
I don't want them to tell our teacher. I don't want, because we want her to succeed. They shouldn't be asking these personal things.
And we're upset because not only we gave all this information out, we gave out for nothing. That's the most upsetting part, because that's her privacy and it's out there, and it did nothing for her. It literally did nothing. She's being held to the same standards as the other kids, as the other healthy kids. This is very upsetting. And we were told that any staff, school staff that crosses my daughter are entitled to train her to use a mask or to assist her to use a mask and watch her frustration level. Are they all psychologists here? Are they all therapists? How they're going to be doing this to someone? I'm trying to understand. It got to a point that it seems like no rules matters anymore. Human rights doesn't matter anymore. It seems like everything's being overridden because of a virus. We understand the severity of the virus, but there's other medical issues out there not the only thing that comes down to.
So you're pretty frustrated, very passionate about this.
I care about my daughter's health. I care about my daughter's education. We did everything
we're
we
actually very
could.
worried. I mean, when
Yes,
she had no mask,
we're
she
concerned.
exceeded expectations in school. She
Correct.
was doing first grade schoolwork in kindergarten. She had never missed a day of school. You know, she went to preschool for 2 years, went to kindergarten, never missed a day of school.
Yeah, perfect attendance, and now here we are.
So what is the conversation you might have with her if you're not successful in this? How are you gonna explain, you know, you can't be at school right now because of...
We did, and she was really sad today because she thought she was going to go to school, and unfortunately, I told her no. I'm sorry, it's devastating, you know, because she wants to go and she wants to learn. She wants to play with her friends. She wants to connect with her teacher, and she can't. She's being stolen away. She's being used as a stepping stool to attack someone in the government area, which this is devastating. We never felt more less, like,
As parents, we feel like we have no
powerless. We feel like powerless.
And I'm not, well, maybe the experts know about how long this particular surge is going to last, but it's certainly not going to be over in a month or two.
Oh, initially,
Right.
it was supposed to be 15 days,
Right?
Year and a half.
Yeah,
over a
it's
year and a
not. It's
half
not
ago.
going to. And they're saying, "Oh, there's a light in the end of the tunnel." So we're gonna be putting our daughter through mental, emotional, and physical stress until there's a light in the end of the tunnel, and the light shines through, and she can now not wear a mask. Which we don't believe that's gonna happen. To be quite honest with you, this is getting very political. They say that the mask is not political, but they're using the mask to make a political state and to, I don't know, look good. I'm not sure,
If you do
because
a
they're obviously
general-
not caring about my daughter's well-being or her health. So this is not about health.
So the people on the other side of the issue say we care about the kids and the teachers and the people that work at the school. That's why we have the mandate for the mask. We know the school board, you know, said, listen, Governor, all right, we believe this is the right thing to do. But what I'm getting from you is this medical exemption from this really isn't that. That's just
No.
on paper, maybe.
Yes.
That's
Maybe.
just that's
It's
just
not even a
them
maybe, it's a
pretending.
no. It's the name
them pretending
they care.
that they're
They're doing
technically
accommodation.
approved. They approved a medical, modification,
But it says medical
but nothing
opt-out.
about this
But it's-
was a modification.
Yeah, but the top of the mask
It
is a
says
medical opt-out.
opt-out request form. You
So
know?
there's no opting out
So
from
maybe
this.
somebody from the school board's going to call you. They're going to go, listen, parents, you don't have to have your daughter in school there. She can be at home. And your position is, we want her there.
We've done that for a year and a half already.
Well,
Kids are missing out.
and not only that, we're worried of her placement. This is a school that you have to get a lottery. We want a lottery to go to the school. It's a magnet program. We don't want to lose that because the pandemic's going to pass. Her education is going to continue. It's not only a year that we're worried about.
So maybe one of the things to keep in mind when you start getting pushed around a little bit more,
Mhm.
okay, all right, we'll agree to that, but we want to take it back into the
Correct.
into the park.
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And I really feel for you because we want good things for our children.
Correct.
Right? And people on the other side are saying the exact same thing, which is we want good things for our children.
By all means, we support masks. I mean, I have one right here.
Oh, but by the way,
You know?
folks, there's a piece of glass here. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we wear masks when we go out. We respect masks and we respect people masking up. I mean, however, some people need to
It is
understand.
inconvenience for some people. We understand that, but we're not questioning freedom right now. We
People
are
need to
questioning.
understand that when a lot of people, they don't realize some people have medical conditions that they can't have something over their face, and you know, some things need to give. If allegedly there's 350,000 students. Okay, if it's even 10%, 35,000 students, that's still decreasing exposure. That's 10%. I highly doubt it. We were the only ones from my daughter's school,
Correct.
supposedly, that submitted this form. So how is it so?
But there have to be dozens, if not hundreds, of people.
I
Yeah,
just
we
think
haven't had
people
a
don't
chance to
know.
reach out. Yeah, it happened so quick, and I think that was the purpose of this last minute
Last
meeting.
minute, so no one knows what to do.
Could. And it's funny because
We
this
had to
online
beg
school,
to get this form. We had
Yes.
to beg.
Yes, and the funny part of all that we heard, I haven't actually double checked on that, but a parent came out on the speech and said that it's funny how they decided to do the meeting on the 18th when the online enrollment was only until the 16th. So I'm not quite sure if that's a correct answer, but it sounds like that's exactly what they're striving to make people not have an option, make people not go to seek a private school or something, because the school was about to start in less than a handful of days, and they decided to hold these meetings that
So, I mean, if they called you up, whoever they would be, and say, okay, what do you want? All right. What would that be?
we would like our daughter to not wear a mask to school. She can't wear a mask to school. She can have a regression. She can have something really bad happen to her. And then who's going to be liable for that? Who's going to be liable if she falls? Who is going to be liable? Who's going to be liable if she has...
We just want them to honor
Yes.
what they said. So one of the board members submitted or proposed an amendment to it for a medical exemption, also religious exemption, but a medical exemption.
Mr.
They all
Gallon.
voted 7-1, was it 7-1 to approve it. However, now what
Carvalho said
Superintendent
something
Carvalho
completely different,
saying,
just accommodations.
from what he's already pre-reading from his pre-made notes already. So did he even listen to the board members? Did he even listen to all the guest speakers that were in there that were speaking on this matter? Or are these
his
people
decision
just,
was already made,
let's say, this is our decision, that's it?
because they voted on a medical exemption, and he only referred it as a medical accommodation, which, as we all seen, this
Words
is not
matter.
a medical.
It's a medical exemption,
Exactly.
and now all of a sudden they're changing it after the board voted to pass or to add the amendment, right?
Correct.
So maybe it's time for them to bring it up. And one of the things for sure, and we understand in government, yes, you want your local representative, but it takes a village in that case to be able to have that conversation. So certainly I would urge you to go to the other school board members and have that conversation, because maybe they're having that conversation with somebody on the other end.
But the problem about that, I reach out to every single one of them. They're filtered. They're having people communicate, and the information is not getting across. They're just told there's no exception, and that's it. And they brush you off, and they tell you. So they're not even hearing our voices.
Certainly they expected this type of thing. And in a month from now, it'll be, or in a week from now, it'll be less. And a month from now, it'll be way less. So understanding that they're going to do that, maybe just keep pushing, and then find an ear that's going to listen. And or maybe if you're able to go to their office and just keep working it until somebody's going to listen to you. Mm-hmm. And maybe it is, would you bring it up at a board meeting? Now the board meetings aren't, I don't know how, once a month, I think.
I think once a week.
Now
or
I
every
believe
Wednesday.
they're meeting once a week to
once a
discuss.
week.
Yeah, every
this mask
Wednesday.
policy is weekly.
Okay.
You know, so.
But again, they don't let us speak with someone. We have to fight really hard to speak with someone about the person. They filtering. They're like filtering calls. You cannot even reach because the decision is already made. Like
if we do speak to someone, are they going to listen?
They're not going to listen.
Superintendent says this. Are they going to listen?
What's important is that you do what you can do.
We're doing everything we can.
Well, what I would suggest you do on social media, put your question out there. Do you have a child in the school system? Mm-hmm. That didn't get a medical exemption, but yet they have a medical issue? Please contact us. We were in a similar position. Let's chat about that.
Yeah, we're going to be creating a petition here soon.
And I would do something very active and spend some money on Facebook and distribute it, throughout. Mm-hmm. Make sure the question is appropriate. Give your contact information, because you may find an ally somewhere else that's having the same conversation and not knowing what to do.
Correct.
And certainly the administrators in the state and all the community leaders are struggling with this. Big picture is, how do we keep the kids and teachers and the other staff members at the school safe? Mm-hmm. How do we keep the kids safe? And so what percentage of the kids have medical issues that should require this? And from what I'm hearing from you, they're saying if they can't do it, stay at home and you can go to school somewhere else.
Or they're going to go and
But it's
and
funny
they're gonna,
because they're favoring kids. They're afraid, the parents are afraid of their kids catching something when the probability is low, but a probability of something going wrong with my daughter is very high. It's actually going to happen. It's not a question. We already know it. So where do we have the balance here of helping both sides? We don't have to be extreme to one side or the other, because they're doing that. They're just pulling to the whole extreme and extreme, like zero exclusion or exemption for anyone. That shouldn't be like this. Everyone is different. It's not one size fits all, and we just want to be heard, and we want our daughter helped, whatever the outcome is. I mean, we're probably going to be seeking legal help, hopefully.
Good. I hope you find somebody that, and I know that we all want to be heard. We all want to understand. And there was a young man who had a mental breakdown 10 years ago, and he came in. He was with his mother, and he wrote a song and wrote the music, and the name of it was, and there've been plenty by this name, but You Are Not Alone. And when I was listening to him, and the tears were coming down my eyes, that we realized we want to be heard. We want to be part of something. We want other people to know what we're struggling with. And if there's some company along with that, that would be good. So I hope that you're able to find some other people that you can talk to. I hope somebody from the school board or some local attorney that would like a great cause. And we know one in particular, Alex. You know which Alex I'm talking about. Give these folks a call. You can find them on Facebook and all over the place. All right.
Here's a question though. At what point? At what point does our elected officials, think they have the audacity to disobey laws from our state legislator? And then at what point now in the future will they think, let's just break it? Where does this go from here?
We certainly have seen that recently a lot, and I know it was in the 60s and 70s, but recently we've been seeing that more often, without naming specific things that are there, and that's happening frequently. And I don't know if it's because of COVID or whatever it is, but it takes guts on both sides.
That's how it's hard to believe that it's not political.
But they're saying they're listening to health professionals, but they're not listening to my daughter's health professional. So they're picking and choosing who they're listening to.
They heard it, all right? They're just making a decision that it's better for this group over here rather than for the small minority.
Yes, it's all about votes in the end of the day.
Yes, and about them, yes. So, all right. Dimmy and Zac, thank you very much for being here. We wish you lots of good luck. And as you're moving along, please let us know. And when you find a supporter and or somebody to represent you, you should hurry up, because school years, it happens pretty fast. Feel free to give me a call. I'm glad that we spoke earlier. Tommy, thank you very much for producing the show. Folks, again, this is Live with Miami's Community News. And if you'd like to talk to Dimmy or to Zac, you can find them on Facebook, right?
Yes.
All right.
Zachary Carrigan.
Zac Carrigan, yep.
Okay.
Zac Carrigan or
Carrigan.
Dimmy Matos.
The name right here.
Okay.
Dimmy and Matos, Matos.
Folks, have a great day. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you later.